about the advertising industry's true economic power. That began to change in 1985, when I embarked on a nearly 6-year odyssey through the world of network television while reporting my book, 3 Blind Mice, a report on how the 3 dominant television networks, CBS, NBC, and ABC, were being disrupted by a new technology, cable. Advertising was central to that story, for unlike cable, the networks were 100% reliant on advertising. And so, when the estimable Tina Brown, the new editor of The New Yorker, offered a regular platform in the magazine, which she called the Annals of Entertainment, I demurred. I told her that in reporting 3 Blind Mice, I glimpsed how the world of media was being transformed, and so we needed a broader rubric, the Annals of Communications, because studios and publishers and television and digital companies were increasingly invading each other's turf. Over the next quarter-century, unsettling change was the subject of much of my work for the magazine and for my books, and the advertising industry was often a backdrop for the stories, and usually an underexplored one. I witnessed the flight of advertisers from old to new media with my reporting for The New Yorker about Google, which led to the book Googled, The End of the World as We Know It. The flight of advertisers from old to new media started in the late 1990s and accelerated in the new century, and its impact was hard to miss. Less obvious was the impact on the ad industry itself. In the public imagination, we were still in the age of Don Draper, but I began to see more and more clearly how this industry that had been intrinsic to the disruption of old media was itself facing fundamental challenges to its existence. Trying to understand the media without understanding advertising and marketing, its fuel supply, is like trying to understand the auto industry without regard to fuel costs. A war correspondent would be derelict not to try to calculate whether General Patton had enough gas in his Third Army tanks to race across France in 1944. He did not. But it's not merely that a reporter covering the communications business would be remiss not to follow the up to $2 trillion advertising and marketing sector. Anyone who takes a moment to ponder this pool of money can't avoid the inescapable truth that capitalism could not exist without marketing. True, the force of marketing is often malign, seeking to manipulate the emotions of consumers. Listeners of this audiobook will, hopefully, share my rage at the many tricks marketers practice. But marketing has a purpose in a free society, and intellectual honesty compels us to recognize that those who sell products need a way to share information about them with consumers. In a non-state-dominated economy, advertising is the bridge between seller and buyer. It would seem an obvious statement, but I found it bears repeating. And that bridge is teetering, jolted by consumers annoyed by intrusive ads, yet dependent on them for free or subsidized media. In this sense, consumers are frenemies. To dig deeper into this world is to realize that more is being disrupted here than the flow of marketing dollars. The agency edifice itself is being assaulted as new rivals surface. Tech and consulting and public relations and media platform companies, many of whom have long been allied with the agencies, and claim still to be. A once comfortable agency business is now assailed by frenemies, companies that both compete and cooperate with them. For many years, I examined advertising as an aspect of some other story I was telling. It crept up on me that there was much to be learned by turning that around and looking deeply into the advertising industry itself, and through it out onto the wider world. A world of artificial intelligence, AI, and algorithms and big data that raises fundamental issues, including issues of privacy, issues of whether the science of advertising can replace the art, whether relationships still matter, and where and whether citizens get their news. This book is populated by characters who represent the points of tension within this world. You will meet artists like Bob Greenberg, founder of the RGA agency, who rail at consummate executives like Martin Sorrell, CEO of WPP.